I met a gypsy.
Is there a leadership group? Like, who would be the ones that would make it happen?
So now it's difficult because the UCI is like the governing body of the sport. They're like the FIM, but for all cycling. And downhill is interesting because it's pretty different from all other forms of cycling. Like,
It's not really cycling.
rules for road biking are totally different
Yeah.
for downhill mountain biking. Like, it almost aligns more with like a X Games sport or an extreme sport than it does with an Olympic sport.
Yeah.
So we're governed by them, but now the races are run by Warner Brothers Discovery, who took over this or last year in 2023, and they pretty much produce all the racing. So they make the calls on where we're going, where the venues are, and the UCI just enforces the rules.
And what was your take on the Discovery takeover this year? Like, goods, bads?
I think they were up against a big challenge. There was, regardless of good or bad, like there was a lot more people racing. The first World Cup this year, I think there was 400 downhill entries across men, women, and junior categories.
See, that just seems crazy.
There shouldn't be 400 people trying to qualify for a World Cup, but as we said, where else do they go?
Yeah.
So they have all these people there. We have issues with logistics because of that. There's no time for people to get enough practice runs. There's not enough flat space in the venue for people to have pits. So there's a lot of challenges. Like internally, there was a lot of resistance against them.
Yeah, they're fully cooking it. Like, I didn't know all that. Yeah, that's crazy.
But a lot of it wasn't necessarily their fault. Like,
Yeah.
they couldn't control that. I think they said last year is 125 teams, and this year is 195 teams registered to be a team. So just
Dude, no.
with that many more people,
Yeah.
it's like, where do you put them? And it was too late to make another cut. It was like, oh, the registration date I think is January 15th every year to put
How
your
much
team
does
in.
it cost to race?
It's $5,000 to register a team, and then after that, I think it's around $150 per entry. If you're an elite team, you pay more. I think it's 10 or 12.
So they're making a fuck ton of entries.
Yeah. Well, the team registration goes to the UCI. The registration goes to the local organizer. So the venue organizes the race. They get that. And I believe they get the extra pit fees as well. So if I get 30 square meters for free. Well, after I paid $5,000.
Yeah.
And if I want any more space, that goes to the local organizing committee. But they have to put so much money out to be able to host the race that they're not really making money off of this. It's more of a tourism thing. They're bringing people to their region to be able to hopefully make money in the local economy by having this event not only that weekend, but make it look good enough on TV that you want to go visit Lenzerheide, Switzerland, because it looks so cool when you watch that race.
Yeah. Dude, we're talking about the same thing. Like, frame companies, it's just there's economics at play that force your hand. Race organizers, there's economics at play that force your hand. Like, it's just so hard to have pure things.
Yeah,
these days, you know, like.
And a lot of people are against Warner Brothers and the guys running it now, and they have a hard job to do that. I mean, they took on the challenge, but I kind of want to give them a chance. Like, I don't think the broadcast was any better this year. I think maybe it was worse than what Red Bull did. Red Bull had more data on the screen. They had better announcing for sure, and they had better camera work as well. Warner Brothers can distribute it to more people. I think like they're able to play it on Eurosport instead of just being streamed on Red Bull TV. So they have more people watching it potentially.
I wonder if the numbers did reflect that though.
They said that they were maybe 10 times the amount of people watching the race this year.
Really?
But and apparently that's from a third party.
Yeah. Okay.
That gives that information, but I don't know. Like, it's really hard to know. Like, to quantify that.
It would take a couple of years to really see that.
Yeah, and hopefully, like, the goal is they do make a more concise TV package that is better to watch. Like, I think I watched one of the snowboarding things from the X Games, and I'm not super into it, but like, I don't necessarily need to watch the 30th place guy snowboarding that I don't really know. So I can see how, to like the broader fan, that a more concise package is definitely better for TV. And hopefully with more TV and more people watching it, we can get some outside sponsors who don't have a lot of. Right now it's like bike parts and bike companies are paying for bike racing. It's just like a circle that goes around.
Yeah.
And if we can get more money from the outside to come in and support this, then we can do a better job, grow it to be bigger.
Which it used to be like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you look in the Brian Lopes days, like it was all outside sponsors, or so every team had a car manufacturer. Like it was a much different time then.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know, time will tell if we can get there, which we're in an interesting time in the bike industry. Like this year, more teams were cut than any other year I can imagine in the past. Like you almost saw every team either cutting or cutting back on their effort for this year. And it's just a direct reflection of sales in the bike industry. So it's kind of tough at this time to say that they're doing an awesome job when like we're in a bad spot in the economy as well, and especially in outdoor sports. So hopefully, they can make this TV broadcast better. It is more of a value. My buddy that I mentioned with NASCAR team said that they pretty much just take the TV package and sell that to a sponsor and say, this is how many people watch the race. This is where your logo is going to be seen. Here's our statistics as a team. If I could take that to a sponsor, probably a lot easier to get money coming in than right now. We don't really have that information for downhill.
Yeah. Okay. So you can't even really go to outside industry sponsors and give them metrics in that way at all.
I'm not using much at all for the broadcast. I'm using like myself and the riders on the team's personal social media accounts as our metric and what we can deliver, and then some race results as well. But if we can get to a point where we can say, here's the exact watch time of this broadcast, and this is how many people watched it. Crankworks did a really good job of sending us a report of that.
Oh, that's
cool. They sent us out a report of Red Bull TV, how many people watched, and then down to each rider. I think my run, like I was in the hot seat for a little while, and I had my run, and it was like,
dude, that's
8
sick.
minutes of watch time during that broadcast.
Watched by X amount of people.
Exactly. And that's the type of information that would be really helpful for us as teams, and I believe that we can get to in the future. I think they see that value as well. We can get some more sponsors coming in.
Oh, man, for sure. And that's honestly just how it works with this dude. Like, I get hit up by people, not as often as I'd like, but I mean, like a Manscaped. Like, they just hit me up. Like, we come up on charts that obviously there's like APIs, like data scrapers that will figure out how much this gets listened to, and then the YouTube metrics. And then they just literally send me a contract and they say, hey, this is how much we think your show's worth to us. Like, do you want that? And I'll be like, I think it's worth a couple dollars more, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, it's literally that easy because they have the data. And I can look at I could tell you the exact amount of watch time that this channel has had on this YouTube channel ever, like up to the hour, and it's like, that's really what companies care about these days.
Totally. I mean, and you would too if you were in their position. Like, it's just like we were saying about the bike, like it's numbers based, and when they can make their decision off of that, I think that's been the struggle. Is like a lot of marketing for sports is based on qualitative, not quantitative. And if you can give your money to Google Ads and see exactly how much return you make on every dollar you put in Google Ads, then you're more likely to do that. Like, it's a much more sure bet than give me the money, I'll spread the good word.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's so true, man. Like, I think about it all the time, like even with where I put my like attention and time, like the data's there, and it's like I could interview this person. Like, you have this 3-hour patch where like you're with a person, and that all gets turned into dollars at some point down the line, and like when you've been in the game long enough, like you just know what is going to be profitable, even down to like what shit you talk about. Like, and it's kind of shitty in a way,
Well, you just got to find a way to keep it true to you. Like, we could sit here and I could talk shit about the organizers of the race and make some good one-liners, and you can put them on your Instagram channel, and maybe people will watch the episode. But if you keep it true and just be honest and open, and that's the best thing you can do.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.